Have you ever walked into a room and felt the air thicken with tension before a single word was spoken, or felt lighter, more optimistic, simply by sitting beside someone who radiates calm? That's not just intuition, it's neuroscience, it's psychology, it's contagious attitude in action, driven by what scientists call the mirror neuron effect. Mirror neurons, why we feel others. Discovered in the 1990s by researchers in Italy, Rizzolatti et al. 96. Mirror neurons are brain cells that fire not just when we perform an action, but when we observe someone else doing it. These neurons don't just reflect motion, they reflect emotion. So when someone near you is anxious, irritable, or joyful, your brain starts mirroring that state. You begin to feel what they feel. Think of it as an emotional Wi Fi. You are constantly picking up and broadcasting invisible signals. That's why a single negative person can demoralize a group, and one grounded leader can restore calm in chaos. Attitudes are contagious, for better or worse. We often talk about skills, about intelligence, about talent, but the attitude someone carries, their emotional posture towards life, is more infectious than any resume. This brings us to the types of spillover that contagious attitudes create. Positive versus negative spillover. A positive spillover is when one person's drive or gratitude elevates the entire group. Think of a passionate teacher, an inspiring coach, or an emotionally intelligent CEO. Their presence creates a psychological ripple effect where others strive harder, feel safer, and grow faster. A negative spillover is equally powerful. One bitter employee, one gossiping teammate, one perpetually pessimistic partner, and suddenly people withdraw. Trust erodes and standards slip. In teams, families, or communities, attitude doesn't stay contained. It leaks, it spreads, it multiplies. Horizontal versus vertical spillover. Horizontal spillover happens between equals, like co-workers, classmates, or peers in a relationship. If one friend starts taking fitness seriously, the others often follow. If one team member becomes disengaged, the others start wondering, should I even bother? Vertical spillover happens across hierarchies, from leaders to teams, parents to children, influencers to followers, a CEO's calm during layoffs, a father's optimism in hard times, a mentor's belief in your potential. These attitudes cascade downward, shaping how others see themselves and respond. Vertical influence is often more powerful because people instinctively mirror those they see as role models or authority figures. Intentional versus unintentional spillover. Sometimes the attitude we spread is intentional. A coach fires up their team on purpose. A speaker lifts a room deliberately. But most often it's unintentional. You walk in tired, short tempered, distracted, and the people around you catch it. Not because you said anything, but because you transmitted it non-verbally. Emotions aren't just felt, they are transferred. And that's why self awareness is the secret weapon of leadership. Emotional contagion, the psychology of influence. In 2003, psychologists Elaine Hatfield, John Cacioppo, and Richard Rapson published research on emotional contagion, showing that people can catch others' emotions automatically without conscious effort. In group settings, this effect intensifies. Studies in the Journal of Applied Psychology, Bowerstedt 2002, show that teams with even one upbeat member have measurably better collaboration, problem solving, and performance. One optimistic person acts like an emotional anchor. But if the wrong attitude seeps in, blame, entitlement, sarcasm, performance plummets. Leadership and cultural immunity. So, what does this mean for you? Whether you're leading a team, raising a child, training clients, or simply trying to live with purpose, you are always transmitting something. Every meeting, every morning routine, every quiet look across the dinner table, you are the climate, not the weather, the thermostat, not the thermometer. You don't just react, you set the tone. This is especially true in leadership. People don't do what you say, they do what you model. If you lead with fear, your team becomes risk averse. If you lead with curiosity, your team becomes innovative. If you lead with cynicism, they mirror distrust. But if you lead with belief, they mirror resilience. Attitudes scale, and whatever culture you tolerate, you're teaching others to imitate. Audit your emotional ecosystem. So here's the hard part. Look around you. Who are you absorbing? What conversations leave you elevated and which ones leave you drained? Who are the emotional radiators and who are the emotional black holes? This isn't about judgment, it's about hygiene. You won't drink dirty water just because everyone else does. So why let toxic attitudes take up real estate in your head? Protect your mindset like your immune system, because it is your immune system, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So the final reflection is, what are you spreading? You don't have to be loud to be contagious. You just have to be consistent. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. Because in a world flooded with noise, the strongest influence is often silent. Not in what you preach, but in how you show up. So ask yourself, what are people catching from me? Is my energy worth imitating? Am I a trigger or a tether? Do I spark storms or plant seeds? Your attitude is always a message. Make sure it's the kind you want echoed.